Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Who Cares Anyway podcast. My name is Chris Owen. I'm your host for this show. And, it's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big weekend, but I still wanted to give something to you guys, especially to everybody in the Facebook group, which, we launched, and it's already up to like 75 members, and let's push for an even bigger number. Let's get more people. If you're, like I said, if you're listening just on the podcast feed or if you're watching this live on the stream, click the link down below or go to Facebook and just look up Dedicated Art. Find the Facebook group, request to join. One of us will let you in and come join the shenanigans. It's a fun time. But of course, it's not just me here on the show tonight. I've also got Nico, the suave one himself, Nico Rigoli. Dude, what's up, man? How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. At the time we're taping this, it's a Thursday night, and so I'm just like trying to wind down for the evening because tomorrow's Friday, and college just started last week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, those are my busy days. Same classes every day for each of those days. I have a yoga-related quiz tomorrow, and the thing is that my teacher for that class said she was going to put up a practice quiz, and the last I checked, that practice quiz wasn't up on the online server. So I don't know if she just forgot to do that or whatnot. So I'm kind of nervous as to what this quiz is going to look like when I take it tomorrow morning. But
hold on a second here. Don't bury the lead here. You have a quiz for yoga?
yeah. So I'm going to be matching muscles to the specific area of the body in which they reside. So it's related to yoga. And also I think there's something about myths of dieting, something like that as well. I mean, it's not
hashtag yoga Rigoli. Let's make this happen, folks. This is I'm not making fun of you because yoga's such a women. No, it's just.
No. First off, let me stop you right there. Diamond Dallas Page, he created his own yoga program that literally saved his career. He had a serious back injury, and then through the power of yoga, he was able to pretty much resurrect his career, become the WCW World Heavyweight Champion, and in the process, he made one of the most profitable home workout programs in the United States. Listen to anyone's testimonial of DDP yoga, and they will tell you that it saved their lives. It changed their lives for the better. It prolonged their athletic careers. Football players, wrestlers alike, MMA fighters, you name it. If they took DDP yoga, they felt some serious benefit for it. Scott Hall used that program to help battle his alcoholism. So don't be dissing yoga.
I'm not dissing. Let's just make that perfectly clear. Yoga is a very legitimate, it's an art form unto itself. It's very therapeutic. It calms the mind. I just think it's funny that you're in a class. But you know what? If you're doing it,
I need the decompression. Especially with what we do. We sit in front of a computer screen and just talk, and occasionally lift up a whiteboard and write on it with a marker. You do that enough times and your body is going to atrophy. So getting that, you understand the benefits of physical activity. You've been preparing for a role for a show you're writing. Yeah. Meanwhile, I've been struggling to get back to the dojo and get back to my black belt self, and that's partly because I've been afraid of I lost a lot of muscle in the time that I've been sitting on this couch talking in front of all of our fans on this computer.
So it's all of their fault. I see how.
Don't. You know what I mean.
I know what you're saying.
I need a program that'll help me get physically back into what I want to get back into. Yeah. This is the stepping stone that will get me back into the dojo and get me back to black belt quality.
Yeah, and I'm not even joking. If I could afford a yoga class right now, I probably would actually be taking one. It's just unfortunately at the moment, but I'm working on that. I'm getting some more hours at work starting next week finally, which is gonna suck for availability as far as doing all the matches that I'm in now because I don't know if you guys saw, but I'm moving on to round 2 of the Face Off singles tournament. Woo-hoo! Take that, Dollface. And Dollhouse, go screw yourselves, especially you, James. Love you. Um, and I just saw the announcement yesterday that I'm going to be in the Full Metal Singles tournament. So now I can finally get that damn belt too, because I don't want to get into details, but let's just say I feel like I was robbed of my destiny last year against a certain Chance.
Here we go again.
Yes. And that's why I will never let that go. I will never let that go because he got called up before I could finally wipe that smug smirk off that sunglass wearing, leather jacket blazing son of a bitch's face. Although I do actually feel kind of bad for him because we just got the announcement, unfortunately, from Harloff that Arizona, due to a scheduling conflict, has been canceled, and it really is a shame. But you know what? These things happen, and luckily all the tickets were refunded, so good job. But now we won't get to see the Wildberries do their thing, and now unfortunately that code that I won on Collider Live, it's no longer valid.
What, you won a code?
I did. I won a pair of meet and greet tickets for that show. For answering why does Makuga constantly call out Christian's Instagram account.
Interesting.
Yes. But yeah, no. And guys, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. Yes, there has been a lot that happened in the movie news this week. That's not what we're gonna talk about for this first hour.
Nope.
Because as kind of has been said around here and around our friends over at Call to Action. Well, Nico, you and I, we were somewhere last weekend. And
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. Well, we left last week, but you get the idea. New York.
We were definitely in a New York state of mind, and Nico, talk to me a little bit about your second time at a Schmoedown live event don't talk about, sorry, we're not going to get to the event just yet, but because this was only your second time in New York, correct?
Yes,
okay,
correct.
So just talk to me a little bit about going here and actually coming with your mama. I got to meet Mama Rigoli, whose famous cameos have always been the greatest thing on this channel.
Yeah, so this time I came with my mom as opposed to Brooklyn in January when I went with my sister. And first I'll say it started off kind of weird simply because it took us forever to actually get there. So we have points saved up on American Airlines. I know the history of what happened in the Chicago event with that particular airline, but we had points. Flights are expensive.
Now you have your own horror story.
So we had to, and basically our flight was supposed to take off, or at least we were supposed to board the plane, I think around noonish, and it kept getting delayed over and over and over again to the point that I don't think we got on finally until 3:15, because apparently this plane was the most mechanically plagued and trouble-ridden plane in the history of planes. It couldn't leave New York because they had to keep making repairs, and then finally got to Pittsburgh. We boarded the plane and we got there around I think 4:30ish. We had the half-hour drive to our hotel. By the way, it was a ridiculously nice hotel. It was the Sheraton Marriott in Times Square. It helps that my dad also had a lot of Marriott points left over, so we could go to such a nice hotel. It had I think 3 different eateries within it. It had a very nice gym down below. We were on the 28th floor. We had a pretty decent view of a Spider-Man poster in the middle of Times Square. So there was that. And once we got situated in the hotel, I had gotten the Action Guys Live start time for their show at the East Village Comedy Club. I had gotten my times mixed up. I thought the show was supposed to start at 8 o'clock. It actually started at 10:15. So we ended up going to the comedy show that took place at 8 o'clock right before the Action Live show. And so we got to watch a couple comedians. One of their names I can't remember.
Judah
Uh,
Freelander.
no, he's the one I remember. He was sort of like the closing act before they had the last two acts for to help set up for last call, so they could get everyone out of the room. He was basically the main event, but there was this one other guy who had been on, I think, Last Comic Standing and At Midnight on Comedy Central a couple times. I can't remember his name, but he had a very dry delivery that I just found really entertaining. And so we had a good time. But then once that show, I should probably mention some of Judah Freelander's act. He basically talked about what his reign as president would look like, and he just had audience members throw out like what he would do in terms of policy, and he just gave like the most ridiculous answers to every single thing. And so I asked him, what would you do for the VA? Thinking like I didn't think he would call my bluff, because I know there are problems with the VA. I'm just not totally like up and up on what those problems are. So I was when he called my bluff, I was just like, and he basically made me look like a fool. But it was all worth it, and I shook his hand afterwards back at the bar area of that place. But yeah, the show was great, and then we had to leave the room so we could get back in line, and that's where I met you guys. I met you. I met Janine. I met Rachel Silvestrini. I mean, I didn't meet them for the first time. I've talked to them before. I've seen them before, but this was the first time meeting you in person. Actually, coming out of the bathroom, who did I meet? Alex McFarland, and she was like, "Who are you?" She just gave me a whole bunch of sass, and it was perfect. Like already, we're selling that storyline. Paul D'Annunzio was in line. Belford. This one guy, Kyle, who I'm forgetting his last name, but he also brought his mom with him. And he I think I met him in Brooklyn too. He was probably the only other guy in the front row who was as hyper as I am to be there, and it showed this week as well. And yeah, we were all in line. We were all just talking about stuff that was going on in terms of the Schmoedown, what we were going to do throughout the weekend, and then we finally got inside. We were you, me, and my mom were all seated in sort of like the left back half of the room, but we still had a pretty good vantage point. And the Action guys, they're the movie of their particular discussion for this week of their live show.
Before we get there, and we'll get more in depth with Action here in just a second. No, and I just wanted to quickly also mention that yes, you had a nightmare of getting to New York because of delays. I had a nightmare getting to New York because of the fucking time. My flight left at 7, but I had to be up by 3:30. Oh, and did I forget to mention what time I actually went to bed the night beforehand?
No, but I'm assuming it was kind of very close to 3:30.
It was about 12.
Oh.
So, and plus I had to drop my car off at my sister's place, which was kind of like the mid-between between the midway between my house and the airport. So we do that. My mom drops me off at about 5:15. Security is a bitch to get through because okay. Whoever is the next president, please fix the TSA. It's a nightmare. It's a straight-up nightmare.
I'm going to make you feel a little bad because now we didn't have this leaving New York, but on our way to New York, we actually did have like pre-approved TSA screening. So we got to go through the fast pass line of the TSA basically. And so we didn't have to take our shoes off. We didn't have to take all the electronics out of our bag. So that was kind of a relief because my laptop bag had so much shit in it, and I didn't want to take any of it out. So that was.
I hate you so much right now.
The only downside was so Russell Howell works at the Pittsburgh airport, and I actually saw him going through the TSA for the Brooklyn trip. Sadly, he was not on shift for when I was going through the airport this time around. So I was hoping I would get to say hi to him before I took off, and sadly I did not get to do that. But
Huh.
Russell Howell, if you're watching this, I hope to see you in the TSA line the next time I travel.
And then if I ever have to go to the cesspool known as Pittsburgh, I'm
I,
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Mr. Rogers is from there. Ergo, it's cool in my book. But your
damn right.
quarterback is a rapist. Anyway,
I won't disagree.
thank you. Um, yeah, no. If I ever find myself in Pittsburgh, I hope I get to see him there, and maybe buy him a beer or something for that damn win he has over me in sudden death. Um, but yeah, and so I get to New York at around 10ish because my flight's actually pretty short. It was only about 2 hours, which was really cool. But I can't check into my hotel early, so I'm stuck just walking around all over fucking New York in because it was a little bit of a chilly morning, so I wore a jacket similar to this. And when I get to New York, it's actually kind of hot out, so I'm like, well, fuck, what am I supposed to do? I was only gonna ride the subway for so many times. Uh, and I do feel like now, having been there for a weekend, I understand the subway system. And you didn't ride it once, did you?
Here's the thing. I kept thinking like we should probably check out the subway schedule because like it'll save us time from having to use an Uber. We just never did that, and yet I wouldn't have been able to really look it up anyway. I mean, I could have used my phone, but I would have preferred to look up the schedule on my laptop. And the thing is, the Wi-Fi at the hotel cost like $15 a night, so I didn't want to put that charge on my hotel room.
I got it for
So
free. I got mine for free.
I mean, like, what can you do? I did say it was a pretty nice hotel, so anything that nice at least has some drawback. And in this case, it was the price of the Wi-Fi.
Ah. Yeah, no, I didn't have that problem. I mean, granted, I didn't have my own personalized Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi for the days in I was staying at was pretty good. And the best part was I was only a block from the venue for the Schmoedown. It was so great. Oh shit! And you just indirectly reminded me I still have to ship you your posters, don't I?
Yes, yes. So we'll talk about that later. But
Yes, yes.
yeah, I do have two posters related to the Schmoedown on Saturday night that we were going to a bar afterwards. I gave my posters to you to take back to your hotel, and yeah, I told you you can just mail them back to me because yeah.
Oh, fine. I suppose I will. But then yeah. So I get to my hotel. I can finally check in at 3. I do, and literally within 20 minutes, I am passed out on my bed for a nice 3-hour nap. And I'll tell you, man, it was glorious. And I needed that 3-hour nap because. So I get to the comedy club at about 9:30 ish, give or take 15 minutes, because I stopped and got some Korean food on the way there, and oh baby, that was some good stuff. Um, Although for the life of me, I can't remember where it was. I can't.
Yeah,
Oh,
because you tried to like recommend the restaurant to me and you couldn't remember the name.
nope. Couldn't remember the name. Couldn't remember the location. I just know I stopped in. I'm like, yeah, this looks good. And you know what? To anybody who watched the Schmoedown Spectacular 2 vlog I did a couple years back, I finally learned how to use chopsticks sort of correctly. So be proud of me.
I
Um,
didn't know I didn't know you were using them incorrectly. But then again, I wasn't eating with you in New York at that Korean place, so I
yeah. No, I'm quite notorious for sucking at using chopsticks, but I think I'm finally getting the hang of it. Uh, so yes, like I said, then I get to the place, and sure as shit, I wound up actually meeting everybody. I met Alex and Lucas. I met Rachel Silvestrini for the first time. Obviously, I've known Janine for a couple of years. She's awesome, and I got to wish her a happy birthday. I forgot to buy her a birthday shot. I do feel bad about that, but and as Andrew Guy's trying to sneak in to get to the green room, I call over to him. I'm like, there's that smooth looking son of a bitch, and he literally the smile that just perked onto his face, and yeah, of course we had a bro hug as we do every time we meet up because that's just our thing now. you know, um, got to bug him for a little bit, and and then I met Corey Quinto.
Oh yeah, Quinto was there too, right?
He was. And then you finally came out of the bathroom, and I was like, you need a fucking haircut. But I'm so happy to see you right now.
Yeah, my hair was a little frizzy that day. There was only so much I could do to get it handled. What can you do? What can you do?
What can you, I mean, well, shit. I'm not wanting to talk. Like I'm overdue for a haircut. Like, guys, I know that my hair looks short, but it's getting a little unmanageable, and I don't want to get a full on emo look going.
Oh yeah,
because it's not 2008.
I'm actually. I was gonna save this particular point for a future thing I'm doing on Multiplex. Multiplex loves movies. I'm gonna be on a How to Train Your Dragon centered episode in a couple weeks. But the reason why I style my hair the way I do, like I have sort of a side cut that sometimes I let grow a little too much, but for the most part, I have my hair long everywhere else. The reason why I do that is mostly because of
Astra
uh,
or Astrid.
no, it's because of Toothless's lack of a tail fin and Hiccup's lack of a left foot. Like that's why I keep the left side short is because of their handicaps.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh, so kind of like how in 2005 I wanted to have the Anakin Skywalker haircut because I thought that was cool.
Oh, the Jedi mullet. Yes.
Oh, is he wearing the Jedi mullet? Oh, top man.
Yeah, that's something that there needs to be a study done on. Like, why do the Jedi have such weird haircuts?
I mean, okay, here's the thing. Does fashion and haircuts count as material possessions? Like, I know the Jedi aren't really supposed to have material possessions, but, like, that doesn't need to be a thing. You can still be fashionable and be a Jedi. Just saying. All right, Star Wars rant over.
Back to New York.
Back to New York. And, yeah, so in comes our two favorite jackasses who, of course, once the cameras are off, we absolutely adore them. And shit, if I've said it once, I'll say it again. Andrew Guy is, honest to God, one of my favorite people in the Schmoedown. Just straight up. Like, I would even dare call him a friend. And I'm blessed that I get that same treatment from him. But they come out, and of course they start talking a little bit of shit, like they did before the split, before that damn table. And you know what? I almost missed it. Of course I couldn't because fuck Team Action.
I mean, it was nice because you knew eventually they were going to drop it and just be themselves for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
But to get to see that little glimpse of like, oh, we're pulling your leg here, like we're gonna be heels for just a few minutes here, and we're gonna make y'all laugh and enjoy it. Like, it worked.
Very much so. And then they wind up talking about what a movie that I don't think people talk about enough, and it's kind of a damn shame because it is way more entertaining than the film community gives it credit for. That is, of course, 2010's MacGruber,
Which I have only seen, I think, once on Comedy Central. So I saw the censored version, which they mentioned was kind of a weaker version of the movie. It was on, so I turned it on, and really, I've forgotten a lot about that movie, with the exception of 6 WWE superstars getting into a van and that van blowing up.
Yep.
Like, I can even name you all the wrestlers. I believe it was Mark Henry, Big Show, Chris Jericho, Great Khali, Kane, and who was the sixth one?
I was gonna say, keep going. I'm literally gonna look this up right now, and I will back you up.
See, I said Chris Jericho, Mark Henry, Kane, Big Show, Great Khali. Who am I forgetting? Shit.
Okay. Montel Porter.
Oh, MVP. Yeah, I think he had left the company after this movie came out, so it's kind of hard for me to associate him with WWE nowadays because he's been gone from there for so long.
Yep, no, you were right. Jericho, MVP, Great Khali, Big Show, Mark Henry, and Kane. Yeah, and and honestly, just hearing the passion in their voices of how much this movie that wound up bringing them together as friends, back in 2010 and 2011, that's actually really cool. And that's like me and my brother with Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. That was just a movie uh, that kind of got us to bond, you know, over something that we both love. Because I here's the thing, you guys know that especially on like something like Down Tune Dissection. I think I'm pretty sure I mentioned a couple times that like I can't stand modern day country music. I can't stand it. I can't stand bro country. Luke Bryan, Florida Georgia Line, and all that other bullshit. Fuck all of them. Their careers needed to die. But I will say that classic country, I have a lot of respect for, and Johnny Cash is one of the best musical artists of all time, and Walk Hard does a great job of spoofing that sort of genre of music biopic, but also still giving you a great character and great music. And the MacGruber is the same thing, where it's spoofing all of the great action movies, but it's still giving you a great action movie in and of itself.
And you could, and if you were in the room, you could tell like how much this movie is important to Ben and Guy and to their friend Will, who made a nice appearance on the TV screen.
Yes, Mr. Will Forte did manage to call in via a private YouTube video, uh, but it was still awesome nonetheless. And it's like, oh, that's really cool. And I'm actually very blessed to have been a part of Action's first ever live podcast. And shit, it kind of inspired me to be like, you know, who's to say we couldn't possibly pull off something like that a year from now?
It would definitely be an interesting experience to take our show on the road. But in
In
time,
time.
we'll see. Like I feel like maybe Downtune Dissection might be a better show to try the live thing with, simply because like people resonate with music. Yeah, I mean, right now I think maybe Kevin Smith is one of the few guys who can make the traveling news show work so well. So
Well, I mean, if we were to do something, it would probably have to be in LA, and it would be more of a Schmoedown related. Who cares anyway? But you know, I think that's something we could possibly put together. Guys, let us know in the comments and the chat. I will
we
definitely read. Also, let us know in the Facebook group. Again, I will definitely read any feedback you have regarding that.
we could do it in Kaiser's backyard while he's having a barbecue.
Kaiser, please tell us we can do that. Please, for the love of God, tell us we can do that, and I will. I will pay for the equipment. I will set up everything myself. Just tell us we can do that. That's all I'm asking. You know. But yeah. So, and as they're doing that, they're having like little giveaways and whatnot. I'm kind of mad. I left it in the living room because I got a little penguin. A little penguin that had Ben Bateman's signature on it. The penguin.
So mine are still in my bag, but the thing I won for answering a question was a Team Ben, Team Guy coin, and then later I bought a Penguin and a Guy apple and a T-shirt as well from their merch stand after the show was over. But for the record, it was incredibly hard to catch shit in that room because they threw the coin towards me, and I was just like, it's so small and it's so dark in this room, I can barely see where it's headed.
I I had no issue with the penguin.
Well, that's because the penguin is big, so you have like
Eh, I mean, it's smaller than a baseball.
I'm just like, okay, bigger thing to see, bigger thing, easier thing to catch.
Ah,
Smaller thing to see, harder thing to catch. That's my viewpoint there.
fair enough. And I guess like the difference between you and I there is like I used to play baseball, so I pretty decent at that skill yet, kind of ish. But and it was just an outright blast. We had so much fun at that show, and especially getting to again meet all of our new friends in Call to Action, and hang out with everybody. But let's not bury the lead here, Nico. The best part of the night wasn't even the show. The best part of the night was what happened after the show.
Well, so are we getting into the musical performance that they did on
I was just
stage?
say, is there anything you want to get out before we hit that part?
I'm kind of like, I mean, they did the performance on stage. Obviously, we have some things we should mention there, but I'm kind of blanking on like anything that happened in between. I think Belfort brought this up when you were on Call to Action earlier this week. There was this one couple next to us that kept talking through the entirety of the show for
Oh my
whatever reason,
God,
and I was
yeah.
like, I was just like, who are these guys? Why are they here? What did they buy tickets for this particular thing? If they're just going to talk through it all, like, are they related to Guy or Ben, and they're just sitting there supporting family? Like, do they not give a shit? But yeah, Belford was correct in his assumption of like the moment the guitar was picked up, that's when they saw the light.
Oh yeah. And I gotta say, so yes, and let's get into that for just a second here before we hit the other big point of the night. Ben Bateman, as I found out over this last weekend, actually used to be a signed musician. He was a signed artist. He did a lot of touring way back when, and he decided to grace us with a couple performances. He started with "Hysteria" by Def Leppard, wonderful rendition, just wonderful. And then he brought out his guitar again for shit.
For the record, as he's singing all of these songs, he's wearing a MacGruber wig.
Which, again, we'll get to the other guy in just a second here. Um, pun intended, very much so. God damn it, what was the second? Oh yeah, here we go. Then he did to pay tribute to Tom Petty. R.I.P. We lost him way too goddamn soon. Even though he was like 60, don't care. We still lost him too soon. Decided to pay a little tribute with "Learning to Fly," which is a great song of his.
By the way, so in the East Village New York Comedy Club, they have plastic candles. And as Ben was singing, we all decided to pick well, at first I think I might have turned on the flashlight on my phone, but then I saw what everyone else was doing. We picked up the candles and we just started waving them in the air, uh, uh, in typical, like, because obviously we can't use lighters in there. It's a safety hazard. So, but still, like, you see it in every televised concert of every kind that someone is waving some sort of light as they're doing one of those slower songs or one of those more passionate love style songs, and it just felt right to do that. And there was not a single candle on their tables still.
Nope. Nope. Which leads us to the best possible way to close out that show. And I could figure it out, but I don't want to bother with it right now. One day I'll learn how to play a song on guitar. Where Ben decided to soothe us with a little rendition of "Faithfully" by Journey. It was quite delightful. Except we were all busy laughing because Andrew Guy decided to join Ben on stage, literally decked out in full MacGruber cosplay, wig included, and he was doing the most hilarious interpretive dance to "Faithfully" by Journey in honor of MacGruber, which, the song was MacGruber and Vicky St. Elmo's song. And I'm just like, this is the best fucking thing in the history of ever. I'm going to enjoy this. And enjoy it. We did.
Oh yes, very much so.
In some ways, my sides are still hurting from laughing so hard.
And the best part is, Guy didn't take off that outfit for the rest of the entire night.
Nope. He wore that thing literally the entire night, and I have to give him props for being a trooper like that. And it's kind of funny that they ended on musical night because as far as musical performances go, the night had only just begun.
Yes,
Because it was decided that that night after the show, everyone's gonna head to a karaoke bar.
Now,
And
before we get to there,
oh
um,
shit, we gotta talk about my little fuck up, don't we?
no, actually, I was not gonna bring that up. I mean, if you want to bring that up, you can, but that's not what I was gonna mention.
Yes.
Oh, I was just like, yes, we were gonna go to a karaoke bar, but it took forever for us to leave the damn bar area of the comedy club. So we were all huddled in the bar area. It's super hot from all of us breathing the same oxygen and just being so close to one another. But the first song after the show took place in that bar when we all sang "Happy Birthday" to Janine the Machine, which I was thinking like, oh, I thought we were gonna save this for when we got to the karaoke place,
Eh.
but might as well start the night off right, and we started off with singing to Janine. It was great, and yeah, this was also sort of like the first chapter of a very long 3-day trial to try and get a paper signed, which we will. I think we'll talk about the climax of this story uh, when we start talking about Saturday. But yeah, basically, I pretty much gave Andrew and Ben the heads up as to what the contract was. I was trying to have a contract signing between us two and at least one, if not two, of the members of the Call to Action podcast who are going to be part of our 3-on-3 in January in the Movie Trivia Face-Off for Trivia for Thon. And I was like, do you guys want to be witnesses to this contract signing? Because you've done a contract signing before when you were feuding with Top 10. And they were like, sure. And the plan was to do the signing at the karaoke bar, and it just never happened. And again, we'll get to we'll continue this ongoing saga of the quest to get this contract signed as we talk about more of New York throughout the 3 days we were there.
Oh yes. But yeah, I'll get this out of the way right now. So as the guys were talking about MacGruber, they were also talking about the Lincoln lawyer. They brought that up for a second to talk about McConaughey and some stuff that was going on then around concerning him. And Ben kind of half confidently said 2011, and for some reason, I think it was the drinks, but I very confidently just butted into the show, and I've said 2012. And I wasn't, being a douchebag. I'm like, no, 2012. No. I was just like, no, I'm pretty sure it's 2012. So, the show keeps going on, and then
Dude,
after,
it wasn't the drinks. You say a lot of things confidently that you end up being wrong. See your bracket for the Schmoedown singles
I
tournament.
made that in 10 minutes. Bite me. If I took the time, I would have thought it out a little more carefully. All right, you shush, you shush. But and then as we are exiting the show, then all of a sudden Belford comes up and is just shouting out, "Doman, you got that wrong." I'm like, did I? Yeah, and it was in fact 2011. I'm like, God damn it. Now, side note, Ben actually did commend me for at least being confident in what I was saying. So I'm like, okay, cool. So if I'm getting it wrong, I might as well I might as well own it. And yeah. So by all means, C2A, if you're in the chat right now, by all means, let me have it that, I'm an idiot, and Doman, you're going to lose the movie release dates match, even though, James, you have no prayer in hell.
Also, in the bar, I should mention, because you were noticeably like turned off by it, but like I'm having, I'm there's no camera rolling, but I'm like cutting promos with Kelsey and Alex as they're standing right next to us, just because like we're getting it all out of our system right then and there, so like we can set up for when the cameras are actually rolling. And it was mostly just us yelling at each other but smiling happily at the same time. So like already the friendship was blooming there. Like we're gonna be enemies when the camera is rolling, but I'm just gonna say right now I'm so glad to have met those guys because
yeah.
I feel like we definitely made friends.
I mean, shit, me and Danny, Danny Joyce. Yeah, sure, when the cameras are on, she hates our guts, but when the cameras are off, she's the sweetest little thing that you've ever seen.
Without question.
But yeah, let's quit beating around the bush. Let's get to what I'm still calling the best part of the night.
Karaoke.
Karaoke. Except, how much of it do we honestly remember? Because I remember getting pretty slammed.
So here's the thing. I noticed this because I think the most drinks I've had in one night is 8 or 9, and that was on my most recent birthday. And the thing was, I was careful to spread all those drinks out so that I only felt really like legitimately tipsy once that entire night. And in terms of New York, I had spaced out my drinks so much that I did not feel intoxicated whatsoever. I think I might have been louder than I usually am for a period of the night, but really that's nothing new. I just get louder whenever the environment calls for it.
Yeah.
So I remember pretty much a great deal of what happened that night.
All right, well then feel free to correct me if I'm fucking something up. So we're walking to this place called Sing Sing Avenue A. Quaint, cute little place. And sure, there were like private karaoke booths, but we just wanted to be at the main bar and hang out with all the other people there. And the karaoke there at the moment was okay. It was okay.
For the record, that bar was a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, same. I kind of wish it was a little bit bigger, but what are you gonna do? But yeah, and like the people who were singing at the time, like they were good. They were trying, but there wasn't a lot of energy throughout the room. It wasn't really anything too crazy. Sure, there was this one guy who was kind of putting a little bit of oomph into it, but again, it wasn't a party until I took the mic to set off the party. And here's the thing: I'm not giving myself the best performance of the night. I'm not going to be that jackass, but I will say,
you are giving yourself a pat on the back.
I'm giving myself a pat on the back for starting the party. Because here's the thing, guys. When you give me a mic for karaoke, I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm not just going to stand there and be like, this hit, that ice cold Michelle Pfeiffer, that white gold. No. That's not how you do Uptown Funk. So of course, I took the mic, and here's the thing. So Nico, you know how if I were to give you the mic, right now in a club, you would sort of go into wrestling mode where you'd get really passionate and real crazy. Do you do the same thing for me with a great song? Yeah, you're damn right. I'm gonna just unleash the beast, and I did. And I was, so of course, I did one of my go-tos, Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson featuring Bruno Mars. And here's the thing, for a white guy, I think I fucking killed it. And if I had not one, not two, but 3 black guys telling me, hey, great job. Okay, I'll take it. And the thing is, I didn't just, again, I wasn't even just, singing it real loud and whatnot. I was going around all over the people, and I was giving the mic to, like, I'm too hot damn. And, I did that for everybody. Just to make it a more make it kind of an experience. Like,
my God, I just remembered there was this one guy who I think was like in charge of making sure everyone got the mics they needed to. Every time you did that, he was just like, "Oh darn," like in just like the most deadpan voice. And I swear to God, I was laughing so hard every time he did that, because I didn't even realize he had a mic until he first uttered it, and then I was like, "Well, that was randomly funny."
I didn't even, well, again, I was so into the performance, I didn't even notice that, and that's actually really funny. But yeah, and then so I get through my song, I have a blast, and now everyone's up and about. We're energized, we're moving, and then a couple songs later, you get the mic, and you know what? You're Rick Astley. It ain't bad, sir.
Okay, so I got to tell you
simultaneously, fuck you for Rick rolling all of us.
I got to tell you the story of the lead up to me singing, because so I waited and waited for my name and the song below it to pop up on the TV screen. Not for when it was my turn, but for like when it was like, in baseball you have the at bat
Mm-hmm.
on deck and in the mound, and so basically I was in the mound
In the hole.
for that in the hole. Excuse me. And so when my name and the song below it finally popped up, I turned to Janine and Rachel and I was just like, look at the screen. And their faces were priceless when they saw that. They were like, "You're really gonna do that song? You're gonna rickroll us?" And I was like, "Yep, yep." And they were like, "Good on you, man. Good on you." But I thought I had a window of time to go to the bathroom, and so I was waiting in line. Ben was in front of me, and right behind me was this weirdo with a bucket of beer who looked like he had drank from that bucket and had suffered brain cell loss from drinking out of that bucket. And he's just like trying to offer it to first Ben before he gets into the bathroom, and then me while I'm still waiting for my turn to use the bathroom. And I'm just like, this is so awkward. Ben, let me into the bathroom. Let me into the bathroom. And then all of a sudden I start hearing everyone screaming my name. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm up. So I don't even make it to the bathroom. I just run as quickly as I can back to the bar, grab the mic right before the first line of the song. And I was just like, I got into the zone. I wish my throat had not been like so raspy through a lot of the singing, but for the most part, I think I did okay. That's basically become my go-to is Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. So yeah, I'm proud of myself.
Nice. And some other great performances obviously were I did catch a little bit of Kelsey doing Bring Me to Life, and I think Janine also hopped in on that one.
I
Uh
was in that one too.
nice. Wait,
And even so
did you try doing the screen part?
I did the male part where like, oh, this time I'm forgetting the words right now, but yeah, I did that part. and
Uh-oh.
and but Guy, without even picking up the mic, he did all of the save me parts, and like you didn't need a mic, you could just hear him in there, and it was
Yeah,
beautiful.
Belford and I we were outside talking for a little bit, and you know, uh, we just look at each other for 1 second like, "Yep, that was Drew."
uh,
And another great performance was
what was it, Liam or Luke?
Liam. Liam,
Okay,
who
because
did
he knocked it out of the park.
yeah, he and Ben absolutely crushed on Wanted Dead or Alive. That that was how you own a crowd.
Did Liam also do Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy?
That was Luke.
Okay, because that was also really good.
Yeah,
But of course, Janine, she did one of the best performances of the night.
bar none. She and Rachel doing "It's Just a Little Crush." It's not like I faint every time we touch.
And
No, that was
I've never heard that song before, so
hmm.
that was pretty good. Something that should be noted is I think this is the first time I've ever been to karaoke and no one sang "Don't Stop Believin'."
I
Like
haven't
you,
I haven't heard someone do "Don't Stop Believing" in years.
like in my circles in every school I've been to, when you have karaoke, someone always does that song, or it's always the song that closes out prom night or a dance. And so, like, to not hear it at all when karaoke was going on, it kind of took me by surprise.
Well, in my circles, that's Bohemian Rhapsody. There's always some jerkweed who thinks he, or she can just nail Bohemian Rhapsody. And I'm sorry, it actually is one of the hardest songs to sing because there's so much going on in it. You're a psycho if you think you can do it. And granted, I have done it successfully before, but that's because I practiced a lot. So, guys, unless you've been practicing a lot, don't do Bohemian Rhapsody, please. It's 6 minutes long. It's kind of a long track. Now, if you have a bunch of friends doing it together, then by all means, go for it. It's fun. It's a fun group song, but
Oh yeah, and Alex McFarland did Hamilton as well, and I think it was Denny Cost. What
yeah.
was the song he did? What was the song he did? Shit.
Um,
I'm sorry, Danny. I'm blanking
Yeah,
on it
sorry,
right now.
Danny. Comment either in the chat or in the comments, and we'll send you an apology on Twitter or something. Um, fuck, what did he do?
We're gonna remember it as soon as we end this stream.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we're gonna be pissed that we
Pretty
didn't
much.
remember it sooner.
Yeah.
Shit.
But any final bits on New York before we head to the next part? Because I don't want the first section to run too long.
So I'll just say in regards to Thursday, I had been to the Five Horsemen reveal where Team Action had played at that event. I had been at the Brooklyn event where Ben said his piece, saying "Don't suspend Guy," and both times I really hadn't developed a friendship with either Ben or Guy. Because I was like, "Hi, you guys are technically heels right now, so I can't root for you. I'm sorry." And then I was just like, Ben is still in the transition period in Brooklyn. This was the first time I actually got to hang out with those guys, and I feel like I've made friends with them. I feel like they're guys I want to hang out with as much as possible now. I understand why people join the Action Army. It's because those two are just so approachable, so likable, so friendly. They're such great guys, and I look forward to LA in December so that we can hang out with them again. Because my God, it was a blast.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you finally got to, experience what I have for like almost 2 years now, and I gladly call them my friends. I gladly will call them that. And
I will gladly do the same now too.
see, the Schmoedown just brought us closer together.
And that's the point we're gonna hit on. I hate to give like the summary of the whole trip now, but that's basically what this trip was. Is like the Schmoedown is not just a community; it's a family, and these live events. I'm sorry, Arizona is going to have to wait a little longer to experience this for themselves, but these live events are like one big family reunion that keeps going to city after city after city, and it brings this community that much closer together to that family status. Like we went from feuding podcasts to best friends, like that, because like we shared this love of movies, of the Schmoedown, of the wrestling element to it, of wrestling itself, of music, of podcasting, of it. Like this brought us so close together.
Yeah, pretty much. And as we, and I'll be honest, there's not much to say about Friday during the day for me because I kind of spent most of it in bed. I didn't get back to my hotel till 4,
We
so I
didn't.
was.
Yeah, because Friday really didn't start much. I didn't get home from karaoke until like 4 o'clock in the morning. So like I slept until noon, and yeah, so it was taking me forever to really like get a jump start to the day as well. We went to Ripley's, believe it or not, building around 4ish, and then we met up with you for dinner
Mm-hmm.
at I think it was 5:30.
Yeah, yeah, about 5:30 at the Smith. That was a nice little place. And then we, in my opinion, barely made the Ellis show in time for good seats, but we still got there. Had a good time. And luckily, well, okay, I got there pretty early. You guys had to go back to your room real fast. Do what you had to do.
Yeah, and then we had some issues with our Uber driver just getting where we needed to go. So and also like there were 3 different ambulances I think passing by that area
There were.
at the time. So like we kept getting stuck in a New York traffic that was like hard to maneuver through, and we just barely made it with I think like 10 minutes to spare
Yeah.
before the actual show started.
But then, and
Oh, by the way, shout out to Ed Harrell and John Mariano and his wife Joy, who we all sat next to
yes,
at this show. We had a blast,
we
and
did.
and Jen Kemp was there as well. And I wasn't sure. She came to the Brooklyn show, but I wasn't sure if she was coming to this particular show as well. And she was one of my earliest friends in this community, so it was nice getting to see her too. And we hung out at dinner and just talked for a good portion of the night. But that's sort of skipping ahead. Getting back to the show.
Yeah. Y'all motherfuckers missed out.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did. Because don't get me wrong, the host, he was a good time. The first comedian, she was very funny. She had a lot of good jokes about how men suck at sex, and you know
Uh,
what? It's probably true.
Vincent Chang was the
Vincent
name of the
Chang.
host. He
Yep.
was the name of the host.
And the guy who went on before Ellis, Michael Ian Smith or something like that. Sorry, somebody correct me in the chat again. He was also very funny, but it does feel like, but he definitely felt like a writer, someone who actually like wrote his jokes out versus just sort of constructed, yeah. Anyway, like he was still funny, whatever. But let's talk about the big three of the night. And let's start with Mr. Brett Sheridan. I'm still laughing because of that non-ending that he did.
Oh,
That non-punchline.
It was so
perfect.
beautiful. It was so beautiful. So can we basically explain the joke?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically what Brett did was he said, so before I finish up here, I should say I never know how to finish these. I feel terrible when I try to finish these, and I just never truly get it right. And then without saying a word, he just walks off stage. So like it was the perfect non-finish to his set, and just I think I was on the floor laughing. You were probably busting a gut too. Not a single person was quiet in that room when he just walked off stage like that.
And of course, we were all going, Brett, 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 and he was doing a little dance as he was walking off, and it was adorable. It was I loved it. And number 2, let's talk about Ellis. We're gonna talk about the main event right now because we'll get to number 1 in just a moment. But Ellis fucking killed me so many times. I think I only stopped laughing for about maybe a whole 2 minutes out of his entire set because he just knows how exactly to deliver his jokes and how exactly to deliver the pieces that are just build up and the actual payoff. I don't know how he does it. I want him on this show to pick his brain. Guys, tweet at Mark Ellis Live to come on Who Cares Anyway to talk about being a stand-up comic because I want to know. Can he show me? To quote Tarzan. You're welcome.
Thank you. Best soundtrack in all of animated film.
Watch some movies.
You don't like Phil Collins in Disney.
Now that just that because I love Phil Collins, I love Disney, but it's like peanut butter and soy sauce. I love peanut butter, I love soy sauce, but don't ever put them together. Anyway, talk about your thoughts on Ellis.
So one joke in particular was the good cry joke. Like he said, you've had a good cry when you started crying about something and then you finish the cry thinking about something entirely different. And that could not be more true. Like all of a sudden you're thinking about all of a sudden you're thinking about a dead relative, and then you're like, did I leave the porch light on or something? And like I'm not doing the joke justice in my description of it, and it's one of those jokes that like it hits the strongest when you're actually in the room, but it's also a joke that resonates. Like, tell me you haven't had one of those moments where you've cried, you're in this thing you started crying about was not the same thing you ended the cry on. Yeah, I've been there too. I've been there too. So it rings true. For whatever reason, I'm struggling to remember a lot of the other jokes he mentioned in his set other than busting Harloff's balls while Harloff sat in the front row.
Oh my god. Uh, yeah, there was one about the Lion King, but I forgot it, unfortunately. There were a couple of really great Star Wars jokes, and again, unfortunately, I forgot them already. It's just hearing, like, again, I remember the experience. I don't remember the jokes, and I think that's kind of the best thing about the show. Is that like I just remember being there, and I remember especially and hell, and I have to give him props where even during his Q&A after the show, he still had Mark Ellis mode on.
Like I asked him, pitch a buddy cop movie with an Ewok, and he was just like, he laughed at the premise and was just like, he tried to think like, who would be good with an Ewok?
And
Uh,
someone said Ken Knapsack, and that's when the place erupted.
it probably would work. It probably would work.
But
I don't know how entertaining it would be though. Like who would be the bad cop? Who would be the good cop?
oh, the Ewok would definitely be the bad cop. The Ewok eats people.
What if the Ewok was partnered up with Grace Hancock? Then it makes a much tougher distinction.
But that's bad cop, bad cop. You can't do it like that. I mean,
Mm.
maybe you could, but enough lollygagging. Let's get to what was probably the best part of the night.
Now you called this. You had like I knew Brett was performing because I asked him while we were waiting in line and he was sitting at the bar. So I knew Brett was performing because I had asked him. You guessed that Harloff was going to get on stage, and I was like, I think you might be right. And lo and behold, the more Vincent Chang was just like giving descriptions as to your next comic, host the Collider Live. He's a schmo. This and that, this and that. And then up on stage, he just literally, because he's sitting at the table right in front of the stage. So it's literally like a 2-inch walk to the
Yep.
stage. And he just gets on up there. And the first thing he talks about is, I wonder what my dad would think about, when he would have conversations with his friends about their kids. Like, oh, my son's a doctor. My son pissed off Gareth Edwards.
No, 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 no. That was not the first joke. That was not the first joke. So the first thing that came out of Harloff's mouth. So there's this black lesbian Chinese woman, and of course the place just lost their shit, and Vince especially because as we found out he's half Jamaican and half Chinese, and he adored that joke. Like that was. And here's the thing, like I knew it. I knew he'd fucking kill it. I knew he'd fucking kill it. Because all of his jokes were on point, and I loved how he organically brought up his little troll voice, which I've missed that thing. I've missed the troll voice so much. Cause, he doesn't really get to do that on Collider Live. And it sucks.
He just did it yesterday.
I missed it. Still. You get my point.
I do. I do get your point.
So, and, like, yeah, sure, I call it. Great. When are you going to do it again, Harloff? When are you going to do it again? Because you honestly need to. I genuinely think, let's say you get Ellis, Harloff, Jay Washington, Jen Sturger, and just for good measure, Brett on a bill. That's a solid fucking lineup.
Like you could, why not? You could have literally the entire Schmoedown crew do a comedy show the night before the Schmoedown Spectacular in LA, and it would sell out. You don't have to have anyone else. It can just be all people we know from Collider and the Schmoedown, and it would be perfect. Like, hell, have that be like the pre-show for the 30 minutes before the Schmoedown event itself. Or that might be pushing it.
That's pushing it.
Okay.
But the night before is not a bad call. Unless we're in town, we decide to do Who Cares Anyway live. But in which case, then do it 2 nights before.
By the way, I have to say I feel bad for the two comedians both nights who have to follow the main event acts because they're like, again, as
Yeah,
I think I stated it before, but they are basically there to give the rest of the audience something to do while the waitresses are handing out checks and people are trying to pay them. Like, they're still entertaining, but if you have to pee, you're not going to hear them. And if you have to pay, and again, you're mostly just there because the waitresses need to keep you there so you can pay your bill.
exactly. Like, and I do feel bad for those guys because like they were trying their damnedest, but of course, I was pretty laughed out. I was entertained because I got one of the best comedy shows I think I could have ever asked for. I seriously had not laughed that hard in weeks. I needed that laugh.
It was wonderful.
And you know what? I think that describes my day of Friday in general. Like I'm actually kind of glad I spent most of it, asleep. Just lying in bed, napping, relaxing. Cause, you know, kinda needed it. Between work and doing everything here, like it does take a little bit out of you. Especially
This was our escape from real life.
yes, for just one weekend. And as I said on Call to Action earlier this week, like it was kind of like it was kind of like just like a weekend like honeymoon where we all just escaped from reality and pretended that there was nothing wrong, that certain people who are in office are not in office. Mitch McConnell, what? Or that you know we weren't trying to do 20 million things all at once.
Which we usually end up doing because like that's basically the nature of the business we're in. Is like you
Yeah,
have to find yourself doing 20 things at once.
exactly. So that was just really awesome. And then we all went to dinner, and it was nice. Granted, I'll be honest, I didn't stick around that long just because I was still kind of tired.
And I don't blame you. I used basically that dinner that we had as a way to catch up with Jen Kemp because I had not. We're in a chat together. She's been a part of the House Night Fury chat since that chat was made, but she has a very busy job that keeps her preoccupied throughout a good portion of the week, and she also has not competed since the free for all. Because like I guess it's just a situation of like once you exit the fan leagues to go to the Schmoedown, it's kind of hard to find your way back in, if at all. Uh,
Well,
uh,
you're just straight up not able to.
exactly. So like I used the dinner as a way to catch up with her. I think Paul D'Annunzio and his wife were sitting next to me on one end. Brandon Hanna was sitting next to me on the other end. Matt Kearns was at the table. Alex Marzonia joined us at one point. Um, PJ Campbell was there with us. And meanwhile, everyone else was stupidly hanging out at the bar. And here's why I say stupidly. It's because you could have gotten those drinks cheaper with food had you sat at the table that Ed Harrell and John Mariano had spent so much time helping set up in that section of the restaurant. So, like, you guys maybe paid a little too much for drinks when you could have gotten something extra. Just saying. But nevertheless, we had a blast. I got to have a one-on-one with Emma Fife, which was nice. We talked shop, talked about the family match that took place in the face-off. Talked about some of my experience in the fan leagues and some of the charity work I've done through the fan leagues and whatnot. Mentioned that apparently Rene Villarreal Jr. and I have the luckiest wheel spinning accuracy in all of fandom fight.
Do you though?
Statistically speaking, we either get spinner's choice or our strengths more than any other players in that particular league. Ask Coho. He will tell you the stats right then and there. It's me and RJ.
All right, fine, but where was that when we needed it the most?
On
Not that we had
vacation.
a prayer to begin with.
It was on vacation. And we did pretty well with DreamWorks. It was just like Again, if it's not a dragon movie or if it's not Kung Fu Panda, it's kind of hard for me to run the gambit. But we made the most of it. It's not Star Wars, but we made the most of it.
Kind of. Um, yeah, and obviously I got to hang out with Tom and Ben, talked with Ellis a little bit more, and and actually got to finally actually meet Paul and talk to him for the first time in person. And
Oh yeah, we met Paul. He was there. I'm sorry, Paul. My bad.
that's fine. That's fine. And it was it was a lot of fun to finally meet the guy I faced 3 fucking times and just couldn't make it happen anytime.
By the way, we should also mention we now know what Saul looks like,
We do.
and he looks nothing like I thought he would look like.
Nope. I pictured basically Kaiser with less hair.
And instead, he looks like
He said he looks like
he looks like a combination of Conor McGregor and Harley. That internet cook.
Let's
That
go
internet
with let's
cook.
go with skinny hipster Santa Claus.
Yeah, skinny hipster Santa Claus. I was gonna say like whoever that guy named Harley who cooks on YouTube is. He has a food channel. I can't remember. I don't want to say Harley Keener because that's the potato kid from Iron Man 3. But
No. Just let's just go with skinny hipster Santa Claus.
okay. Oh, Epic Mealtime guy. That's who I'm thinking of. He looks like a skinnier version of the Epic Mealtime guy. Anyway,
and you got to start the glorious chant of bacon, 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 bacon.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And it was a proud moment, I think, for everyone outside of that club. We
minus Saul.
Yes, yeah. He's probably like, oh shit, this is my life now. I'm a celebrity in the way I don't want to be. I got to introduce my mom to Harloff before he left, and that was kind of cool because he told my mom, "Your son is one of the nicest people we have in the community, and he also drives me nuts from time to time," which I was like, accurate. Very accurate. So it's like
he pretty much said the same to my mom when they met via Skype chat. So yeah, well, welcome to the club.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Friday night was great. I got to have squid ink pasta, which was basically like black and blue colored pasta, but it tasted really good. I think there was some shrimp in there too. I can't remember for certain. But it tasted great. And just got to meet new people. Got to Adam being one of them. I'm forgetting his last name at the moment, but he seemed like a nice guy. Me and Jen talked with him for a little bit. We had a great night.
Awesome. Oh, jeez, with how long we're going, like this should almost just be the show. But we do still have something cool going on that I don't know. We'll see. But let's move on to Saturday night. I personally myself spent a little bit of time just sort of strolling around the city of New York. I went for about a 5.5 mile walk all the way from where I was staying on 94th Street. I went all the way down to about 50th Street and just walked around and saw everything going on there. And there was seriously, it's crazy. New York. It's completely crazy.
Oh, it is crazy.
That's what's awesome about it, though.
Like the day before, I got yanked by a Latino Spanish-speaking Deadpool who wanted a photo in Times Square, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute! If I do this, I have to give him money, so I'm just gonna walk away now." By the way, that's 2 trips in New York, and I now realize people there who live there and do business there for a living think I'm a sucker. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep approaching me. So now, anytime you offer me a CD, I'm just going to swat it away or keep walking. Anytime you want a photo with me, if you're in costume, I'm just going to walk away. I'm done falling for your traps.
To be fair, Nico, how are you normally dressed?
I mean, I wasn't really dressed to like stand out that much while I was there.
But at least, and don't take this the wrong way, because that jean jacket actually does look very nice on you. But a New Yorker can tell that automatically. That's not New York fashion.
Oh shit, they could tell I was a tourist.
Yep.
Okay. Damn it.
And here's the thing, because there's a lot of business districts in New York, I was able to just blend right in with a suit jacket and nice pants. I just look like one of them. And here's the thing,
Maybe I should have gone the opposite route and just dressed up like one of those people in Times Square that were taking photos. Like, what if I got a giant Elmo costume and just walked through? I would have blended right in there.
uh, I don't know if the opposite of that extreme works though. Like I
Only
said,
one way to find out.
and I'll be sure to videotape it. Oh God. Um, but yeah, and so we met up at like, what was it, like 4 o'clock ish on Saturday.
Um, yeah, did we? I can't remember exactly. Oh yeah, we did meet up for us. Yeah, we were in line. We were one of the first people in line for the VIP ticket owners for the Schmoedown. Um, should say my Uber driver was a little bit more reckless than the one I had the night before, but he got me
Ah,
there. He got me there 5 minutes ahead of schedule. So kudos to him for that. Um, but yeah, we stood in line for quite a little bit, and we ended up. You mentioned this on Call to Action. We ended up talking to this one guy with pink hair, um, black nail polish, and coincidentally, I think he was also standing next to me in line for the Brooklyn event in January, at the very front of that line, along with Andrew Hayes. But so like I had completely forgotten that we had met before until he mentioned that he found Mike Kalinowski attractive, and I was like, "Holy shit, we've done this exact same thing before. We've stood in line together before for one of these things." And I was like, "Okay, we have something to bond over here because we know each other maybe not bond, but like we know each other a little bit." And then he badmouthed Janine, and I was like, "Get out of here, go, go, go to the back of the line. You've irked me now."
uh, yeah. Guys, I'm not even joking. I don't condone violence. At least not in the real world. If you're using it to tell a story, then by all means, please do, because that will make your story more interesting. But so simultaneously, I had to hold back Nico and just sort of,
I held my tongue. I
you
held my
did,
fists.
because
Yeah.
I was not ready to break up that fight. Not to mention there were like three cops standing right next to us. So I'm like, nothing's gonna happen here. We'll just get inside and we'll just sit on the opposite side of this guy at the venue, and that'll be the end of it. But and you know what, I want him to find us, and hopefully we can maybe squash this beef, or keep it going, because
No, we're gonna squash this beef when Janine kicks Mike Kalinowski's ass and makes her way to the finals of this tournament. That's how we're
okay,
gonna
and you
squash
say
it.
I had wishful thinking. Okay. She'll get to round two.
I still say she'll win. It's her time, man. I feel like it's her time. She's been busting her ass for 2 years now.
I'm not saying I don't want it to be her time. I just don't think it is yet.
Will it into the ether, and it eventually comes true.
Well, let's hope that works with my little 1, 2, 3, 4 belts thing. For myself. But yeah, so then we get inside, and not only do we get to re-meet up with Quinto, which is fun, I finally get to meet someone I've wanted to meet for a long goddamn time.
Dominic frickin' Rizzi.
Dom fucking Rizzy. That arrogant son of a bitch.
By the way, should we throw Sean Sandberg under the bus?
No, don't. No.
Okay. Okay.
If my match against him had dropped, then I'd say yes. But no. I'm just gonna say, Sean, I want your A game. Bring it.
And we're sorry you couldn't make it.
And we're sorry you couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But and look, and I you know, it was awesome. It was awesome to meet all these other people for the Schmoedown event. But simultaneously, friends of Dom Rizzi, I want you to answer a question for me. How do you understand anything he's saying? Because that dude is on coke. That dude is on straight coke. He's on coke that is mixed with coke that is sprinkled in with an extra layer of coke just to make the coke work even faster. Because the dude, oh my god, he talks so fast. He's like, okay, all right, I know all these questions. Let's go. Give him something to slow down.
Like he's on perpetual fast forward. I don't know like how. Like, I mean,
I mean, Speedy Gonzalez is telling you to slow down, Rizzy. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's just. But you know, I applaud him. I like that he's got a lot of energy and a lot of positive energy at that. But also shout out to the Mariano children who were passing out signs that they and their dad had drawn for everyone in the audience. Like, I believe I got a Haley Fouch sign, which is in your room right now. Probably.
Yes, it is actually in my room right now. It's hanging out next to my my poster.
Yes, as well as my poster, because we each got one for that particular event, as well as I got a T-shirt. I got the tour shirt that they were selling at the merch stand. By the way, we got to talk to Ethan Irwin backstage while we were getting refreshments.
Damn Skippy.
And I always find it cool that I'm like, hey, do you remember me? My cousin is Anthony Bresnikan. And he's like, oh, I know your cousin.
And literally all he had to do was just take one look at me. Chris, what's up, man? You know, because, again, I at Free For All 2, he and I actually, like, you know, we got to talk for like an hour. And it was awesome. You know, hell, I even asked him, because, like, I know he's known Christian for like years and whatnot, but I did actually ask him, like, well, and would you consider going to Joel Silver and maybe whatever, because they were still doing celebrity schmoedowns at the time. I was like, well, would you consider going to Joel and asking if he'd be down for doing a celebrity schmoedown to help promotion for their next film? He was like, you know what? I would honestly like to do that. I was like, yes, I planted a seed, kind of.
Now watch it grow, watch it grow, watch it grow.
Exactly. But yeah, and it was great to catch up with him again. You know, as always. And you know what? There was something that actually surprised me. I'm surprised that Harloff was surprised to see, because he like, I'm pretty sure he knew you were going to be there, but I've said nothing outside of the Schmoedown reactions. But yeah, and I was, you know, I was touched that he was very happy to see me at both the Ellis' show and the live show.
You got to put yourself out there a little bit more, man.
Actually,
you know what? People might disagree with me on that statement. They might want you to put yourself out there less. And the same goes for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, maybe a little bit more for myself in terms of like where I'm gonna be at, like what events, and maybe for you, just ease up just a little bit. Nothing too crazy. Like put yourself out there as you would, but just a little less, and I'll just bring myself up a little more. We're like a guitar and bass in that fashion. You want a good balance. You don't want, you know, too much guitar or too much bass.
Dude, I'm the drums. I'm the straight up drums.
I was trying to make it.
I know you're making an analogy, but I'm just letting you know that I'm going to derail this analogy to let you know I'm fucking percussion to the end of time.
As am I. But yeah, so then with all that, the show happens. I had to piss like 3 times because at this point I have no fucking voice. I'm slamming water after water after water just so I can speak. And it's kind of annoying, but it's kind of funny at the same time. And
I should mention that before the show started, we got to meet Brendan the Kid Meyer,
we did.
and I
Oh
threw
yeah,
you.
you
I
threw me
threw
under the
you.
bus, you
Yeah,
bastard.
I threw you under the bus and then backed over it. Listen, I'm not gonna stop busting your balls about Whitney Seibold. I'm sorry. I'm just not.
You know, keep it up, and then I'll get like you, and then I'll just start shit talking Janine just for the fuck of it, just to piss you off.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I'll cool it. I'll cool
All
it.
right. But yeah, no, and he's just a sweetheart of a kid. I like Brendan a lot. He's knowledgeable. He's friendly. He's very approachable. You know, just all around a great guy. I'm so glad he's in the Schmoedown. Like I'm serious.
I don't think I've ever seen that dude frown. Like he's just full of positive energy throughout everything. It's probably just because he's Canadian, but but like he's got so much happiness to offer this community.
I mean, let's be fair. Nickelback is also from Canada. That's enough to make any Canadian frown.
I should have laughed as hard as I did at that. Look
well,
at
I mean,
this photograph.
we were in New York, and they say a hero will save us. Oh, it is fucking late. Good God. All right. And because the match will have just dropped, I don't want to give any spoilers away for the title match.
And that's fair. I just want to, because we didn't touch on it much when we did the reaction/review earlier to the first match earlier this week. I just want to say that for the record, the moment they called Antonio Chavez up on stage and they mentioned his girlfriend sitting in the crowd, I was like, there's going to be a proposal. He's going to propose. I just know it. And I'm like fumbling to get my phone out to record this whole thing. And all of a sudden, 6 seconds into the video that I started, I get a thing that says iPhone out of storage. I'm like, son of a bitch. And I'm just like rushing to delete as many photos that I wasn't going to post on Facebook or were meaningless. I just kept trying to get them going as much as I could. And it still wasn't up. So I ended up not recording the video of the actual proposal itself. But it's still on the internet. It started off the Haley Fouch versus Ethan Irwin video. So, my God, it was amazing, though, to see that. I don't think I've ever seen a live marriage proposal before. It take place in the same room as me. To take place in the same room as me.
Once. I've seen it happen once. But yeah, no, nothing like that. That was freaking cool. And once again, Antonio, congratulations from everyone here at Dedicated Art. That took a lot of balls. That took a lot of balls.
And now everyone is going to try and get that same opportunity to do
I'm
so.
definitely not. Because first off, I'd have to meet a nice girl, and I just, I don't think she exists. And I've accepted that. But, and even though, again, the title match has dropped, we're not giving a spoiler for the match itself, but we are giving a spoiler for something that happened during the match, and I just wanted to vent about this for just 2 seconds.
Because I know where you're going with this, and for the record, dude was sitting literally 2 seats away from where I was. 3 seats away from where Chris was because we were sitting together in the front row.
And we don't know this person's name. In fact, we don't even know exactly where they were seated. But yeah, like in that vicinity.
We were on the side left row of seats in the front row. He was in either the second or third row at the left edge in the middle row of seats.
Yeah, somewhere in that vicinity. Don't shout out the fucking answer. I don't care if you know it. I don't care if you think you know it. I don't care if, you want to show up the quote unquote champion. Because, yeah, sure. If, let's say I was answering Snyder's questions in that match against Paul, I would have TKO'd him. But whatever, that's fine. Because I got a perfect round in that when I was playing along. But you don't shout the question. You don't shout the answer out loud, no matter what. You don't do that. You do not fucking do that. That is the number one rule of live events. If you just don't do that. You don't think the answer. You don't whisper the answer. You don't say the answer. You don't shout the answer. You don't write down the answer and try to show your thing to the competitors on stage. You just watch. You watch and you enjoy. And if I had actually seen you say the answer, if I could have figured out which one of you sons of bitches had actually done it, motherfucker, I would have thrown you out myself. I would have dragged you to the door, and I would have chucked you out that doorway.
I would have just watched, because I know it's a rule. I'm more forgiving though, because it was the multiple choice round. You sometimes forget that steals are available, so it's just like things happen. I'm amazed that it's taken this long for this type of incident to happen, because there have been there were 3 events last year, and there have been 1, 2, 3, 4. This is at least the 4th or 5th event this year. So, the fact that it took 8 events before we finally had this incident, I'd call that a win. But now people realize, okay, don't do that. We don't want to be that guy that gets called out and has everyone looking at them and staring daggers into their souls.
And again, if let's say I was on that stage and I was competing in that match and I'd seen that shit, I would have jumped down there myself and been like, and I would have chewed them out. Because again, you don't fucking do that. Simple as that. So after the live event ends, and the match is over, we go up to do our photos with all the crew, and the Q&A, which was a lot of fun, and some things got revealed, and we're not gonna say any more than that.
Nope.
But we're going to have some fun moving forward. That's all I'm going to say, Nico.
Oh, yes, we are. Yes. Next season of the Schmoedown is going to be insane.
And it's going to be great. But with that, because I don't really have anything really to say about the quote-unquote after party, because we all just kind of hung out. You annoyed Harloff. I apologized on your behalf, and
well, I was mostly annoying him to get Jen Kemp another match, and he used the excuse of, she's a writer. I need a writer right now. I need more than one writer than I have, and so therefore, you can't compete if you're the one writing the questions, which is fair. At the same time, she's so damn good. You gotta get. It feels wrong to keep her on the sidelines like this, like a caged animal. Let her unleash her fury on the Schmoedown.
Her and Jeremy Adams. You want an almost unstoppable team. Them.
There you go. Although, I'm wondering would they. There might be some gaps that there might be some gaps that both of them have that I don't think the other can fill.
Yeah, because that's
Well, calm down. Cool your jets. There is something we're kind of forgetting to mention, and I teased it earlier. So, took 3 days for this to happen, but we finally had the quote-unquote contract signing.
We did.
Basically,
Well, the
I
thing is, though, Nico, did we?
Okay, so here's basically what happened. So Ed Harrell pulls out his video camera, and all of a sudden, and it's me and Alex. We're jaw jacking each other. I've got the paper in my hand, pen in the other. Ben and Guy are standing right next to us, watching all this happen. And so I hand her the paper. She hands it to Paul D'Annunzio, and we're still jaw jacking. And all of a sudden, I just stop talking and just start laughing at everything going on around me. I turn around and I see Paul D'Annunzio trying to burn the contract with a cigarette before someone stops him because there are 3 cops standing in within
Actually,
walking distance of
I'm
us.
trying to remember. Wasn't that Belford's they tried using?
Whoever's lighter it was, or whoever's cigarette it was, D'Annunzio was the one holding the paper and burning it. So I'm just like, son of a bitch. And then when they saw the cops, they were just like, okay, we can't actually do this. And so Alex instead just rips it up, and I'm just like, how did I not see this coming?
I mean, okay, Nico, I love you. I really do. But as the wrestling guy, as the guy who's constantly making wrestling references, like,
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. At all these wrestling contract signings, the contract still gets signed. It's just someone usually goes through a table or gets beaten the living crap out of afterwards.
yeah,
But the contract always
we
gets
can't do
signed.
that. So, of course they're gonna rip it up, dude.
And
That's the most wrestling thing they could do.
so I basically this was the stupidest thing I've ever tried to set up. Everyone's just making me laugh. I'm not in promo mode anymore. I'm just in dumbass mode, and I've got as soon as Ed turns off the camera, I've got Bennett and Guy saying, "You screwed the pooch on that one, dude," and I'm like, "You think?
Yeah, and
You think?" And then here's the worst part is that while we're all having beer and dinner at the after party, I get a text from Ed Harrell saying that the file got corrupted. So we did literally all that for nothing.
what?
And so basically the only physical evidence of anything that happened from this contract non-signing is a photo Danielle took of me picking up the ripped pieces of the contract from the ground. And like, had she taken a video of it, I believe I said, it's bad to litter or something like that, and I just screamed it right into the camera. But basically, all that remains is a photo of me picking up the papers. And yeah, that sucked. But it was funny
So,
for everyone else, but it sucked for me.
and like on the one hand, I genuinely feel bad for not even being there. Like I made sure to just walk away because look, when it came to the actual like promotion of this match, I said I didn't want any part of it.
I'm going to give James Spence plenty of ideas to piss you off, so you'll get into the trash talk.
Because here's the thing. He knows I can kick his ass. Mac knows I can kick her ass. Paul knows I can kick his ass. Like, sorry, I'm just going to Dan Murrell this thing. I'm just going to walk in, kick everyone's ass, and walk out. And that's going to be it.
Dude, Dan Murrell's been talking lately. So, like,
Fine.
even the best
fine.
could get into the trash talk
Old
mode.
school Merlet. I'll old school Merlet. And it's just, you really didn't see this coming.
I thought the contract would get signed and some other form of shenanigans would take place. I wasn't sure what kind of shenanigans, but I was expecting the actual piece of paper to get signatures on it. I don't know. Again, I thought chaos was going to happen. I just didn't expect the chaos that I got. That's on me. I'm stupid. And
Mm-hmm.
basically, like, let's just fast forward to the end of the trip, which is basically you and I. We went to this place called the Smith, I believe it was called. And
No, Fred's.
Fred's.
The Smith was where
We hung
yeah,
out the night before. Yeah.
yeah.
So we went to this place called Fred's. We're seated literally right next to Harloff, Roxy, Emma, and Bateman, and I think Guy was there for a little bit at that table
Brienne.
too. Yeah, yeah, and Brienne Chandler was there too. She and I spent a good time talking after you
That's
left.
good.
Yeah, she's definitely a good friend. And like I also discovered that she and I want to make like the Schmoedown more physically dangerous for the people involved. Like she wants people to eat peppers if they get questions wrong, and then not get to drink milk after they get the questions wrong. They can't drink milk until the end of the match. And meanwhile, here I am trying to bring in the wrestling death match equivalent of it all. Like you get an answer wrong, you get slapped in the chest, or you get shocked with the collar, or you get hit with a kendo stick. Like that I call it the Deadpool match because it fits with the Iron Man match. And Chris
No.
is just like, you're never getting a spot on the Schmoedown if you want to bring that into there.
No, yeah, you're never gonna get in if that's the kind of madness you want to bring. Like Harloff will never sign off on that. Because frankly speaking, they don't they don't have a medical team in the budget yet.
I'll keep my I'll keep my mind open
All
for
right,
like the
fine
next
then.
time we go. The next time we go to
Then
Houston,
you
it
better
might happen.
sponsor the Schmoedown for like $500 million to be able to pull that kind of shit off.
The next time they go to Houston, it might happen. I would, especially if it's in that wrestling ring.
Mm. Oh God, help us all.
Anyway, so yeah, got to basically finished off the night talking to Harloff, trying to get Jen Kemp a match. Didn't work out, but like we talked about his set from the night before at the comedy club. Spent a lot of time talking with Bateman and Guy on and off. But I was most happy to talk to Brienne, to talk to Janine, to talk to Rachel, and to talk to Kevin Smets. Because like that was the goal: get smashed with the Smasher. And I think he was definitely smashed. I was not. Again, I spaced out my. I think I only had one drink that entire night in terms of alcohol.
No, you had two.
Oh yeah, I did. I did have a refill. You're right. But yeah, um, I think I finished off the night apologizing to Janine for accidentally like groping her as she was walking Ethan to the stage.
Yeah. You
And
where's the hashtag Me Too on that there, Nico?
she laughed it off. She laughed it off, and then I think Kevin said right before I left, "You can always grope me," and then I actually did. I like scooped him underneath the chest, and then walked away and left and went out the door. And he just had like this surprised, horrified, but also happy look on his face that I had just done what I had did, and like yeah. And thankfully, I got home safely. They got stuck in Detroit on their way home. So glad you guys are finally back in LA now. Yay.
Yay.
Hope Detroit was nice to you while you were there. But yeah, I'm so glad we got to do this. And, if it weren't for the fact that I'm still trying to get through school right now, trying to get all the way to graduation in December, I would be willing to go to that Orlando show in October. And I'm making it clear right now. The moment tickets go on sale for the spectacular, I'm buying. I'm buying tickets. I'm going to LA because I want to experience the biggest show of shows.
Yeah, and obviously I'm gonna be there as well because. And here's the thing, like, yeah, sure, I want to be there to see the end of the Magic season. I want to see how it all comes to a close, but the main reason I want to go so badly, it's not so much for the Schmoedown, but it's just for the simple fact that I want to hang out with my friends. I want to see my friends. This this entire community has been nothing but incredible. And you all have yourselves to thank for that. To everybody who I've gotten the pleasure to meet, because I actually met several fans of ours, and some people who knew me from my previous work too, while I was at the show, and that put just the biggest damn smile on my face.
Liam actually knows me from Combat Wrestling Trivia, so it was cool to. It was either Liam or Luke. They look kind of alike, but I believe it was Liam.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, it was Liam who said that, and that's kind of my point. Like, that just goes to show that, like, call to action and us, we're making a difference, and we're showing the fans like how to get involved with this community and how to do it right, and not by being dumbass trolls on Twitter and whatnot, but by being genuine fans who are passionate and want to be a part of something this incredible.
We can still be dumbasses on Twitter. We're not dumbass trolls, but we can still be dumbasses on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. We can ask our deep rivals to sign contracts and expect them to do it. I'm sorry, Nico. I'm sorry.
I deserve that. I deserve that.
Nico, you know I love you. So, guys,
what happens in LA when instead of a contract, I just bring like a pie and hit someone in the face with it? I'm just be like, that's for burning my paper. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Actually, I want you to do that. I want you to do that, please. Like, I will. You know what? That is something I can get behind. I will buy a big old thing of whipped topping. We'll get an empty pie tin, fill it with whipped topping, and be like, "Hey, James." Psh.
He'd probably like it.
And that's why we're gonna do it. So listen up, James. I'm just warning you right now. At some point during Spectacular Weekend, you will get a pie in the face, and you are gonna like it.
Yes, you will.
Yes, you will. So before we close out, is there anything else you got on your mind as far as this incredible weekend?
Come to Pittsburgh next year, please. Obviously, going to New York twice this year has been great. I've gone to 2 different states that I've never been to in the past 2 years to experience the greatness of a Schmoedown live event. Nice. I want to see that come to my backyard now. I want to see it come to the city of black and gold, the city of steel, the city of champions. And we have 6 Super Bowl rings. We have 5 World Series. We have 3 Stanley Cups. That's pretty damn good for we've earned the right to call ourselves the city of champions. But yeah, I want to experience this in my own backyard now. And I think you can say the same for Minnesota. I think anyone who has gone to these that have been from other states, Arizona was going to get that chance. And again, I feel so bad that they're not going to get that chance now because, my God, the going to these events is incredible. Orlando, you better consider yourself very lucky for the experience you're going to have in October.
Orlando.
Brooklyn's probably going to get to experience that again in January. And Boston will get to experience that next year. Chicago will likely get to experience it again. Pittsburgh, I know it's on the list. It got on that poll for a reason, mostly probably because Makuga kept saying, Pittsburgh. But
yet, what do the fans really want? Hashtag Schmoedown Nashville. Make it happen.
And hell, I might even go to that. Matthew Rosa is in the Tennessee area. We might see him perform at one of the clubs with his band. And that would be pretty damn cool to see that happen.
Awesome. So before we officially close out, I'm actually going to talk about when I went home the following Sunday. I got back to my hotel at about 1:30, 2. It was nice and quiet. And I was out at 11. I checked out, did everything I was supposed to, and that was that. I got some lunch and then went straight to the airport. Got home safe, obviously, thank God. But as I was flying on the plane, I couldn't help but notice something rather odd about the person sitting in front of me, one row. He had opened YouTube. I'm like, oh, he probably just downloaded something he was gonna watch, and I just peeked over for 2 seconds, and I noticed, wait, that's Antonio proposing to his girlfriend. Hey, so I struck up a conversation with honestly, I'm just gonna call him our new friend, Cheyenne Ashanti. um and he turns out he had heard of the Schmoedown reactors. He had heard of us, which was really cool.
Ooh.
Um, and he actually was not even though he was in New York that entire weekend, he was not able to make the actual show. So he decided to just pop it on and give it a watch for the flight. And so, yeah, well, he watched the matches. I was watching Shazam on the flight, and then we just talked Schmoedown for literally the entire rest of the way there, and all the way like to getting off the plane, getting through the airport, getting to baggage claim, and we just chatted, and it was incredible. And this was somebody that I never heard of them. I mean, I think I maybe saw them comment like one time on hey, do we have any Schmoedown fans from Minnesota? I maybe saw him comment there once, but I just met a complete stranger and instantly became close with them because of our love of Collider and the Schmoedown.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That was fucking cool.
It's interesting you bring up people on planes because I almost forgot this. So he had been sort of like in the crosshairs of us everywhere we went, but I didn't realize it was him. Eric Frederick was on my plane, who's a member of the Schmoedown Pittsburgh community. He's out in Katanning. I'm here in New Kensington. So
that's Jake Agavetta's buddy, right?
Yeah, that was Jake Agavetta's buddy, and I didn't realize that was Eric until like he saw my Schmoedown shirt while we were on the plane, and I'm like, oh my God, how did we not hang out at all? Like I feel like such a douche for not for us not really palling around that much. But yeah, we talked before the plane took off, and yeah, I think we're gonna probably like maybe go see a movie together at some point.
Do it. Go see It Chapter 2.
Probably not that movie.
I tried. All right, fair enough. But then, yeah, I suppose then with that, guys, thank you for tuning into this special bonus episode of the Who Cares Anyway podcast, where Nico and I just talked about New York. And as you guys will have seen from last Friday's episode, where I just sort of did the news by myself for that first little bit. Then, of course, Nico got to do his awesome panel with Malcolm and Zadius. Again, Nico, thank you for filling in for me that night. I really appreciate it. That meant a lot. Thank you. But with that, good sir, where may the good folks find you online?
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nico Suave Regoli, or just Nico Suave with 4 random English numbers at the end on Discord. Instagram and Snapchat still coming soon. I'll get to it eventually. Combat Wrestling Trivia on Facebook, Combat Wrestling Network on YouTube. The poorly made Twitter handle is at Combat Wrestling, the number 2. There's no letter G. We actually had 2 title matches drop yesterday. The heavyweight championship between Andrew Hayes, the champion, and Hunter Chambliss, the commissioner and challenger, and also the inaugural Workhorse Weekly Ironman Championship between Jacob Barber and James Berryman III. Go check both of those matches out. They were both Ironman matches, and they were both fantastic. Rolling Crits on YouTube, at Rolling Crits on Instagram. Damn it, what is going on with my friends in that show? I don't even know if we've abandoned that show or not. I will find out soon. And, of course, all all the places D2A, which Chris will say in just a moment. But trivia for Thon 2. I'm still promoting it. I'm still getting into the promotion. Again, we've already mentioned Call to Action versus D2A, the 3-on-3 in the movie Trivia Face-Off. I should also mention Full Metal Random. It will be a 5-way Schmoedown Reactors Schmoedown Trivia match, a D2A rep versus a C2A rep versus a Take 3 rep versus Abby Friel versus Albert Weirderama. So that should be fun too. 2 Full Metal Classic matches, and I'm working on something with Combat Wrestling Trivia and with TV Throwdown as well.
Awesome. And of course, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, Letterboxd, and Discord at Skywalker Doman. You guys can follow this very channel on Twitter and Instagram at D2A Channel. Please like our Facebook page and join the brand new Dedicated Art Facebook group so you guys can join in the conversations, keep up to date with everything that we're dropping. And, of course, like I said, go check out our previous episode of Who Cares Anyway, where Nico sat down with Zadie Smith and Malcolm Lay to discuss all things Arrowverse. And again, dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And then Down-Tune Dissection. I don't know when Ryan's finally going to upload that fucking Slipknot review, but dude, get on it. And I will be sitting down with, speaking of Call to Action, I'll be sitting down with Dylan Camacha to talk about one of our favorite bands of all time, that being the Deftones, and I cannot fucking wait for that episode. But guys, in addition to all of that, it's our 1-year anniversary this month. We've been doing this for a year now. How cool is that? So please, come celebrate with us. Come join the party. Come join the conversation. As next week, Case, Nico, hopefully Ryan, and I will be doing a little discussion about some of our favorite characters in all of fiction, whether that's books, TV, movies, whatever. We're going to talk about some of our favorite characters, and we hope you guys enjoy it. So until then, you know what to do. Take care!
Yeah!